Welcome back, Tribe. Today's episode is going to be on how to know if you're attractive. It's actually crazy how often this question comes up with guys. I've been emailed this a bunch of times. It's actually been a conversation in the private community at times as well. Like Qs, IOIs, all that stuff. Like, how do you know when a girl likes you? Or how do you even know if you're attractive at all besides, my mom told me I'm handsome. Or grandma said I've been really handsome. Because the real truth is, dude, most guys actually have no fucking clue how attractive they are. Like, seriously, zero awareness. Walking around blind to signals hitting them in the face daily. And you might be that dude if you're watching this right now. The guy that everybody else can see is high value, but he can't see it himself. You're probably the guy that has like natural magnetism who thinks he's just a regular Joe. And here's some unfiltered signs that you're actually a highly attractive man that nobody's been honest enough to tell you. And first up is that women get nervous as fuck around you. I mean, like teenagers at a concert nervous. Watch for it. You'll see things like subtle hair twirling, neck touching, constant adjustments to their clothes or their appearance. That awkward laugh that comes out a little loud is the fidgeting, shit like that. And they're not having a little seizure. They're just responding to your presence. It's their body betraying their words, but they'll never admit it. And the eye contact, that's another big one. It's either non-existent or way too intense. There's like no middle ground. Either she can't bear to look at you because you make her nervous, or she's drilling holes through your skull with her eyes, like fucking laser beams, testing you, seeing if you'll flinch. Regular guys don't trigger this kind of response in women at all. I think the next sign will probably be a dead giveaway for a lot of guys, but the way other men will treat you. Now, this has nothing to do with attraction, but guys will size each other up if they see a guy as handsome. No homo. And it's not subtle, actually, either. It's very noticeable. Some men will show you immediate respect, or they'll defer to you in conversations, or make their way, or I should say make way when you approach. They'll laugh a little too hard at your jokes. It'll seem like they're kissing your ass. They'll straighten their posture when you enter the room. Other dudes, they'll fucking hate you on sight for no reason. You haven't even said a word, and they're already trying to take you down a notch. It's like passive-aggressive comments, the dismissive tone, interrupting you all the time. Why? Because you're a fucking threat, dude, to their status, to their perceived position in the male hierarchy, or their chances with women in the vicinity. This has to have happened to some of you. And watch what happens when you enter a social setting. Some guy will immediately try to one-up you. Oh, you work in finance, bro? I actually just closed a multi-million-dollar deal last week. Translation, please don't fucking outshine me, bro. And women notice this shit. They're evolutionary programmed to track the male dynamics like that. They watch this shit like hawks. And when other men respect you or feel threatened by you, women clock that shit instantly. I'm telling you. You could call that high-value confirmation. Nobody ignores it. And here's where it gets actually super interesting, because attractive men get challenged by women constantly. You'd be surprised. Shit tested into oblivion. She'll tease you mercilessly, act unimpressed by things that would, I'd say, impress her coming from somebody else. Say slightly provocative things to see how you respond. It feels like she's trying to knock you off balance because that's actually what she's doing. I bet you say that to all the girls. Oh, that shirt is interesting, I guess. Or, you're not really my type, actually. Those aren't rejections, by the way. They're invitations to prove yourself. Test to see if you are actually confident as you appear, or just another fake alpha with a glass ego. When they say about men having those fragile egos, that's what she's testing for. And the crucial part is how you respond to these. If you get defensive or butthurt, you failed. If you laugh it off, throw it back at her playfully, you pass with flying colors and you're going to get in them guts. I guarantee it. Average guys don't get tested this way. Women don't even bother with them. They only invest that energy in men they're already attracted to. They want to see if your confidence is real, not just good packaging. Now pay attention to strangers' reactions. The staring, the double takes, the sudden awareness of your presence. You walk into a room and there's a subtle shift in energy. People make space for you without being asked. Conversations pause momentarily. Eyes track your movement. Women glance at you, then quickly look away when caught. The classic, oops, I noticed you noticing me. It's a move they all do. And men give you that subtle chin-up bro nod. You noticed it before? The silent acknowledgement between males that, okay, yeah, I see you, bro. In crowded places, you catch people watching you in reflective surfaces, windows, mirrors, the black screen of their phone, thinking that they're being slick. This isn't paranoia. It's not ego. It's just a natural human response to someone with presence, with natural authority, with genetic advantages that people are hardwired to notice. Low value men can enter and exit a room without a single person registering their existence. And that has nothing to do with how loud you are or how much space you take up. It's just aura. It's energy, presence. These signs, they're everywhere if you pay attention. But most guys are too caught up in their insecurities to notice that they're actually that man in the room. Still not convinced? Look for some special treatment. The exceptions made just for you that others don't get. Think about it. Women you barely know going out of their way to interact with you. The accidental compliments, the unnecessary questions, the offers to help with things you clearly don't need help with. I liked your watch. Where did you get that coffee? Do you need help carrying that? Transparent excuses to engage with you. In group settings, people naturally position themselves near you, gravitate to your vicinity, find reasons to be in your orbit. The party unconsciously organizes itself around where you're standing. Service workers treat you differently too. Think about like bartenders. They'll serve you first despite others waiting longer. Waitresses check on your table more frequently. Store employees offer assistance unprompted. And no, it's not always because you're a big tipper or especially friendly. It's because attractive people get better treatment everywhere they go. It's just a brutal reality. Pretty privilege exists in men too. And it's an uncomfortable truth about human nature that we don't want to acknowledge. Women get visibly upset when you don't notice them. You've probably seen it. That instant attitude shift when you don't pay attention to certain women. I actually had this happen to me with friends. We went out to, I don't know, I think it was a bar or one of those restaurant/bars. And there was a girl that they invited and she was just all over me, just trying to get my attention. And I overheard her say to my friend's girl, "Is he gay? What's wrong with him? Everything I do, he's not paying attention," because she was super loose and disgusting with it. I was not interested in somebody that was so easy. But the fact of the matter was, if you don't pay attention, they'll throw the "are you gay" card at you. I know some guys have heard that. You know, they'll give you like sudden coldness, salty as fuck comments or exaggerated indifference. She ended up on that night dancing with another guy trying to get me jealous, to the point where she took the guy home. We literally all Ubered back and they Ubered away to her place to try to make me jealous. And if you're a man, you understand like confirmation. Oh, good. Thank God I didn't sleep with her because she's way too easy. Who knows what you would have caught? You know, I wasn't interested anyways, Margaret. And they'll get louder sometimes or laugh harder at jokes that aren't even that funny. You know, it's just like obnoxious how much attention they're trying to draw to themselves. They'll position themselves directly in your line of sight, create little dramas nearby, all desperate attempts to make you notice them. You know, women who feel entitled to male attention absolutely hate it when high-value men don't provide it. It drives them fucking crazy. Their entire self-image gets threatened. So they accidentally bump into you. They'll ask you pointless questions just to start an interaction. They'll make comments within earshot that are obviously meant for you to overhear. They'll drop things near you, you know, the handkerchief trick, so you'll hopefully pick them up. Well, it's the oldest fucking trick in the book. You know what doesn't happen to average guys? Women getting upset about being ignored by them. Because you can't ignore someone you never noticed in the first place. That's the truth. And the final confirmation, people automatically assume you have options. Lots of them. Women make comments like, "I bet you have girls blowing up your phone right now." Or, "Someone like you must be dating like crazy." They're fishing, but they're also revealing their assumption. Even when you're completely single, people just act like you're juggling multiple relationships. Like being unattached must be your choice, not your circumstance. Some women actually get preemptively jealous before even dating them. Before you give them any reason, they'll make these possessive comments when you mention female friends or colleagues. Like they'll get suspicious about your social media activity. Ask pointed questions about your relationship history too. It's insane. They're already competing with women who might not even exist. It's funny as fuck to see happen. Already they're trying to secure their position against a perceived threat. You know, investing emotionally to keep you already. Average guys don't trigger this kind of territorial response. Only men who women see as prizes worth fighting for. If you consistently experience most of these signs, congratulations, bro. You're in the top tier of male attractiveness. But here's the mindfuck. Yeah. It might have almost nothing to do with your looks. It sounds crazy. Listen to me. And sure, conventional looks do help. Good looks. Height helps, fitness helps, but they're not the whole story. It's not actually even close. The most magnetic men aren't always the prettiest. They're the most confident, the most self-assured, the most comfortable in their own skin. They have the presence, the purpose, they have a sense of direction that's almost palatable. They operate like they belong everywhere that they go. Like they expect good things to happen to them. Like rejection is like a temporary inconvenience, not a reflection of their worth. That energy is more attractive than any six-pack or square jawline, I'm telling you. It's the difference between a good-looking guy nobody remembers and an average-looking guy nobody forgets. And I've heard multiple girls tell this to me all the time. They'll say things like this. Tell me about your past and the guys that you've dated and what was memorable about them. And I've had this conversation where women have said, well, there's this one guy, he wasn't even particularly attractive. Some of them were short. Nothing stood out, but his energy, his aura, he commanded respect. If he told me sit down, I was like, yes, sir, and sat down like a good little girl. I've seen what these guys look like. Physically, they're nothing, but psychologically, they were everything. If you can command a woman like that, even when you're 5'6", no offense, but it looks like you're on top of a fucking mountain. There's this presence that it's very hard to describe, that it comes mixed with confidence, mixed with self-assurance, an air of superiority, a bit of asshole sprinkled in there, and women just melt. They literally, it's like they go blind. They can't even see that you're short anymore. You won't believe this until you see it for yourself. And some of you might have some friends that are not as, you say, conventionally attractive, like what we're talking about here, but their presence and their aura and how funny they are and how much they command the room gets them laid all the time. Game does matter. Game can make up for less than ideal looks. And this is the vibe that creates more attraction than your face ever could. If you don't believe me, ask some people in the comment section. Your confidence is more magnetic than your height. Your self-assurance will outweigh your hairline, bro, every single fucking time. If you need proof, look at the guys who objectively lack conventional attractiveness, but still pull like magnets. They could be musicians, they could be comedians, they could be entrepreneurs, leaders, whatever the fuck. Men with presence or purpose, and they defy all the physical limitations through pure energy and confidence. It's there, it's real. For example, Pete Davidson. He's not dating the most beautiful women because the dude is attractive. He looks fucking, look at the guy. He's doing it because he genuinely doesn't seem to give a fuck. That unshakable frame is irresistible to women. Side note, apparently in Hollywood, he's known as having a huge meat stick. So fine, okay. Some girls are curious about that. So dude's got a hog on him, allegedly. Okay, fine. And then true attraction. But true attraction, dude, isn't a beauty contest for men. It's an energy exchange. It's a recognition of value that goes way beyond the surface. Here's the brutal reality. Most men who aren't experiencing these signs don't lack good genetics. They lack self-belief. They lack the presence. They lack the unshakable confidence that makes people sit up and take notice. They're walking around with their eyes on the ground, voice barely audible, energy apologetic, constantly seeking permission to exist in spaces, perpetually trying not to bother anybody. That energy is fucking repulsive, not natural, not neutral, actively repulsive. It triggers evolutionary aversion in both men and women. The instinctive avoidance of low status individuals that's hardwired into our primate brains. This is the mentality that those black pillars tend to have. What I just described beforehand is the energy that they give off. A lot of them actually are good looking. Some of them are ripped and shredded. But because they give off that energy starting from up here, it doesn't matter, bro. You could be I saw the new word for that was Chad cell. It's mind blowing. Basically an incel Chad. Imagine the paradox of that. And that's happening today. Is that harsh? Maybe, but it's true. Fucking absolutely it is. But the good news is this. Unlike your height or bone structure, confidence can be built. Okay, presence can be developed. Energy can be transformed. The most attractive men aren't born. They're self-created. Through constant small acts of that courage, through relentless self-improvement, through developing confidence that naturally, or let's just say competence as well, that naturally breeds the confidence, okay? If you're not experiencing the signs we discussed, don't blame your fucking face. Okay, don't blame your energy. That's what you have to blame. Your presence, your relationship with yourself, how you see yourself. Those are the variables that can actually change. Start standing tall. Speak clearly. Make eye contact. Don't be fucking slumped over. Taking up appropriate space. Have some fucking opinions. Set up boundaries, dude. Pursue mastery in areas that matter to you. The transformation won't happen overnight, guys. But when it does happen, it's undeniable. People who've known you for years suddenly will see you differently, treat you differently, respond to you differently. It's insane to see. Being attractive isn't just that genetic lottery. It does fucking help, but it's also a choice. It's a daily decision to carry yourself like someone worthy of the attention, the respect, the desire. You have to develop the kind of internal confidence that no rejection can shake. That's the real secret nobody's telling you. The pretty boys aren't winning because they're pretty. They're winning because they've been treated as valuable their whole lives. And that treatment created unshakable self-belief. That's the fucking key to everything. You can build the same belief from scratch. I'm telling you, you can. Believe me, it's harder, but the results will be damn near identical. Sometimes even better because you don't take that shit for granted. A lot of the quote attractive guys by pure genetic luck lack a lot of the quote game that could have made their lives a million times easier. They just never needed to learn that stuff. So they got lucky in that sense. Start paying attention to how people respond to you. Start noticing the signs we discussed. You might already be more attractive than you realize. And if you're not seeing these responses yet, now you know exactly what to work toward. Either way, the power is yours, actually, truly. Not in your genes, not in your bone structure, in your fucking mind, dude, in your energy, in the willingness to see yourself as high value. The most attractive thing you'll ever possess isn't even visible in the mirror. It's the absolute unshakable knowledge of your worth. Build that and everything else follows. I guarantee it, dude. I hope that helps some of you guys realize what some of these attractive traits are if you get them naturally through genetic luck. But what I really want guys to realize is that your confidence, your self-image matters more than any of that stuff. You can be a quote Chad cell. You could be absolutely attractive, conventionally so. But if you give off the weird, squirrely, dude in a corner, negative self-image vibes that girls say, you will absolutely put off women. And you could put off men too. I have had conversations with these guys in private. I have seen what they look like. You would be shocked. Some of them could be on the covers of magazines. Absolutely shredded, 8-packs, veins on their abs. They're doing everything right. But the one thing that they needed to do, mentally match the image that they've built of themselves physically in the gym. That's why some of these guys are fat. Some of them honestly don't look like much, but they have the mental prowess of a lion and absolutely devouring the dating scene out there. It's not just looks. You need the mentality to back it up. Because when a woman will shit test you, like I mentioned earlier, and if your fragile ego falls apart, it will all fall apart from there on. Your entire interaction will burn to the ground. Believe me, whether you think I'm attractive or not, I've noticed it in myself. If I have unshakable confidence, my game, everything ran tight. I closed on women all the time. When I felt like I was ugly or unworthy or I placed some sort of insecurity in front of myself, the woman picked up on it right away and absolutely rejected me. Hopefully you guys picked up some value from this episode, maybe answered some questions. And if it did, let me know. Email me more topics or join us in the private community, guys. Have some conversations like this with us in our Zoom calls. We do them weekly. As usual, appreciate everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.